Hey guys, what's up? It's Monkazonky and welcome to a new video. So in this video I'm going to be teaching you guys how to kill the Ascension bosses. And one thing that's important to keep in mind with the Ascension bosses is with the current price of Ascension crossbows, it's very unlikely that you're going to make money doing this long term. So if you want to make money, you probably want to go with a different boss. So for the most part, killing Ascension bosses is for those who are going after the Ascension pets. And they are some of the easier pets to get because you can kill the bosses very quickly. And with that, you can rack up a lot of kill count per hour, reach the thresholds quickly, and get the pets unlocked. So with that being said, if you want to do Ascension bosses, keep in mind you'll probably need a lot of money to do it. You have a very good chance of cutting a loss, but you also have a way to get some fairly quick boss pets, at least compared to how rare the other ones are. Here are some pretty good gear setups with which you can use to kill legions. So the one on the left is if you are lucky enough to get a Slayer task, and if you do a Slayer task and you're planning on going for legion pets in the future, that's a really good time to kill the Ascension bosses, is when you have Ascensions as a Slayer task. So you also want to wear the best range armor that you can, in this case Serenic with Pernix boots and gloves. The middle setup is if you want to kill them off of task, you want to wear Superior Elite Void if you have it. If not, you can go with the Serenic setup. And on the far right we have what you would kill as an Iron Man if you're looking to kill legions, and obviously Iron Men are going for that Ascension crossbow but don't have quite the access to really nice gear that main accounts do, so stuff like Armadillo and Royal Crossbow will work pretty good as well. If you are a maxed player, you will have access to Legios really easy, and this is probably the best boss to be maxed for if you're going to kill it, because the max skill teleports make everything amazing. If you're not maxed, however, here's a map of the Ascension Monastery, and you will have to run there, which takes about a minute to run to a boss, so it's not the worst thing in the world, but it is a bit slower for non-max players to do Ascension Legios. That's why it's awesome being maxed before you go for the pets. So for non-max players, this is the route that you want to take in order to fight the Ascension Legios. First of all, you teleport to the Uglog Lodestone, which is right next to the Ascension Monastery entrance, so that makes banking fairly easy with this lodestone and not too much of a pain. And then after you enter in, most of the bosses are to the far eastern side of the dungeon. However, Primus is to the west, as we saw on the map, so you want to run all the way west for Primus. But for the rest of the bosses, you cross the agility shortcuts. The one that I crossed requires 80 agility. There's also one a bit to the west that requires 70, and one farther than that requires 60. So having a nice agility level does help quite a bit here. Here's where 3 of the bosses are located, and the rest are scattered around the dungeon, but not too bad of a run, and it takes about a minute to get to any boss. And for maxed players, this is the route that you want to take to get to Ascension Legions. You want to run from the max guild up to the boss portal and enter with it set to legions, and then it will teleport you to the boss for which key you have in your inventory, and that's all it takes. And that's why I really love this portal when it comes to killing these specific bosses. So all of the Ascension bosses have some unique abilities, but they're all similar in a few respects, and we'll talk about those before we go into each boss individually. So all the bosses will activate some part of their special ability, and each of them, it's different obviously, at 1/4 interval of their health. So after they're down to 3/4 health, for example, Primus, which is the boss on display here, will increase his damage, and then it'll increase it more at 1/2 and increase it more when he's at 1/4 health remaining. And every single boss will add something new to the table after they lose 1/4 of their health. Also, for all the bosses, the ability Devotion is super effective, and you want to be able to pray Mage at all times, so whenever that Devotion is ready, you can activate it and then stand right next to him and deal a lot of damage. Also, the amount of damage that you deal to legions is based on how close you are to them, so the closer you are to the legion, the more damage you will deal. The farther away, the less damage you'll deal, so you want to run as close to them as possible while still keeping yourself safe so you are able to run away from the lightning storms. All the Legion bosses drop lightning storms, and if you stand in them for very long, you will be dealt rapid 2Ks of damage with even Protect Magic on, and you'll die very quickly, so it's important to keep on the move at all times and run in a square pattern so that the lightning storms don't hit you. So in order of killing the bosses, we'll go from Primus all the way up to Sextus, so there are 6 total of them, and with all the Ascension bosses, they will all fire lightning at you. The first lightning they fire will be at you, and the second lightning they fire will be in the direction that you're running, and then they'll alternate back and forth between those. They can also use magic attacks to shoot directly at you, but those typically don't hit very hard. But the main thing that you want to be using is Protect from Mage and Devotion, and with Primus, as he lowers in health, his damage will increase. Although as long as you're running around, the lightning storms won't hit you and you won't have to worry about it anyway, but use Devotion and then rapid fire to kill him off really quickly. Killing Secundus is a very similar fight to killing Primus, and Secundus' special ability is at each 1/4 of his health being lowered, he will summon the lightning storms slightly more often and use his magic attack less. His magic attack where he shoots directly at you, that is. And once he's at 1/4 health remaining, the only thing he will do is spawn lightning storms, and he won't use his magic attack anymore. Very similar to Primus, get devotion ready, rapid fire, and make sure you use your abilities like bombardment and snapshot when you're standing close to him in order to deal the most damage possible, and he'll go down really easily. Next up is Tertius, and this is one of the more annoying bosses to kill because he spawns minions, and especially the minion that he spawns with 1/4 of his health left is the Capsarius minion, which will heal him and make you do severely reduced damage to the boss, so you'll have to either kill the Capsarius, or you can also use a little trick that I'll be showing you guys here. Also, when he's at 50% HP remaining, he will summon a Gladius, so do not use bombardment or any ability that multi-targets enemies, because if you hit the Gladius it can stun you, and you really don't want to be stunned at this boss because if he summons Lightning Storm on top of you, it's really going to hurt. So what you want to do with the Capsarius is you want to use Devotion and then use Rapid Fire, and as long as you hit OK, you will kill Legio Tertius before the Capsarius can do much healing on him and drop him really quickly. This is definitely the trickiest Legion boss to kill because of the fact that it has a Capsarius, and you will have kills where you don't hit very well or you mess up and you'll have to kill the Capsarius, and it slows down the kill and it's kind of annoying. Also, on certain kills when your devotion is on cooldown, one thing that you can do instead is use the ability Needle Strike and then use the ability Snapshot when you're standing directly next to the Tertius. And if you're on Slayer task or have a good lucky hit, you should be able to deal that last 7.5k damage that you need and kill him without having to kill the Capsarius. Unfortunately, this doesn't always work, of course, and sometimes when you have to kill the Capsarius, it slows down the kill because you have to click on it and then deal damage to the minion, but this is by far the most annoying boss in my opinion, and it just takes a bit to get the hang of. The next boss up is Quartus, and he's much less annoying than Tertius, but his special ability can still do quite a bit of damage to you if you're not careful. So what that ability is every single time he loses another 25% of his HP, he will teleport you directly next to him and try to give you a hug. And when this happens, when he's spawning lightning at the same time, you can very easily get trapped inside a lightning storm and be dealt a lot of damage. Some strategies to avoid this are to use Devotion right before he's at 50% HP, and then you should have Devotion active for that and the last time that he drags you towards him, and also just be ready to run in the opposite direction the second that you get teleported next to Quartus. Our fifth boss is called Quintus, and this boss can be the most difficult boss for newcomers to the Ascension Legios to get the hang of. So the reason why is Quintus will spawn these purple lines on the ground every single time that he loses another 25% of his HP, 3 lines total. The first line will go east-west, the second line will go north-south, and the third line will go east-west again. So it's very important to look at his HP and judge when you're about to get to the point where he loses another 25% of his HP, another line spawns, so that you can be running in the opposite direction. If you run along the lines, they will deal heavy damage. However, you can stand one space next to the line and then walk over the line if needed, and you will not take damage this way. Devotion will keep you safe from Quintus's purple lines as well as his magic attacks, so that's one thing to keep in mind when fighting this boss, so that you can use that devotion to stand right underneath him, even if he has purple lines underneath him, and that way you won't be dealt massive damage by them. By far the most dangerous part of this boss is if you're running along one of the lines when it spawns and you don't notice right away, you can very quickly be dropped. So make sure to pay attention when his health is about to get to the stage where he spawns the next line, and with time you'll memorize which way the line is about to spawn, and that way you can run in the opposite direction so that you don't get destroyed. Our last legion that we're going to be fighting is Sextus, and this can be one of the more annoying legions, although there's a really easy way to deal with his special attack in which you're unlikely to take much damage at all. And the reason why Sextus is annoying is his lightning spawns, instead of dissipating after just a couple ticks on the ground, they will actually last much longer and continue to have more lightning spawns on the ground as he loses health. So in the later stages of the fight, there can be 4 or 5 lightnings on the ground, and it's very difficult to avoid them. So the strategy for how you deal with Sextus is you just widen your path that you take, and you want to make a large circle around him, but you want to move in an octagonal shape so that you're not walking in a straight line, so he's not going to drop the lightning right in front of you and you get KO'd. Overall, it's a very easy boss. It just takes a bit longer because you're having to run farther away from him, and you deal less damage to the boss because of the farther distance away. So that's about all for my Legos guide. Thank you guys for watching, and hopefully it helped out. And if you're a main account going for pets, or if you are an Iron Man account ready to commit to the long grind of finding all of those signets to make your own Ascension crossbow, good luck to you. Hopefully you get whatever you're going after fairly soon. I myself got back-to-back a signet drop at Primus earlier today. I thought that was fairly awesome. It's the second time that's ever happened to me, and that's always fun. But anyway, that's about all for me. This time, I'll see you guys next time with the next video. Farewell.